just a bit of bread by Nyan Zangetsu, chapter 17. And he shall appear. When other monsters, take care you don't become one yourself. With age came and he shall appear. With age came wisdom, and wisdom followed intelligence. A bit of an odd adage Freya felt, but then again, she wasn't exactly old anymore herself. The gods had seen fit to grant her a miracle, a second chance at life, and she'd sworn not to waste it. Indeed, she turned right back around and given Maria the same opportunity, but although her youth had been restored to her, she hadn't lost any of her wit. She saw the signs in the young ones before her, the terror in the team that she had begun to call her own, because you see, Naruto had come back bloody again. None of it was his blood, of course. The silly boy was many things, but even in his current state, he wasn't one to ignore an injury, not like that doll of a woman that followed him everywhere. She had to be told to do nearly everything these days. Freya took some small pleasure in the last part. The mighty Cinderfall, a scourge of maidens everywhere, now made little more than a pet. She supposed there was some irony in that. He had the wench walking on all fours for an entire day already, but enough about fallen foes and petty pride. Naruto was the problem here. Out all day, back at night, just long enough to fall into his cot, and then come morning he was gone again. How long had he been at this? Days, weeks, longer. And to make matters worse, she didn't think Emerald would mind his little escapade once. If she finally woke from her coma, a girl was practical like that. He wasn't targeting innocence, not yet. But when would that change? What happened when he found someone with a useful semblance? What if he decided to start ripping the life force out of others, just to pump it into her? How far was he willing to go? If it meant saving Emerald, how long before he snapped and forsook his code completely, abandoning who he was in pursuit of power, the power to heal her, the strength to take vengeance on those who had wronged her? They couldn't even call him crazy for it. Not when his treatment, and she shuddered to call it such, was working. Naruto had found no shortage of healing and regeneration semblances. These days, Emerald's vital signs were out of the red and into the yellow, almost stable even, which made the fact that she would wake up all the more painful for him. And so the hunt continued. Veils on the world had already been stretched thin. If he kept this up, there wouldn't be anyone left, which begs the question: where would Naruto go once he ran out of victims? What would he do, and to whom? And wouldn't stop him. Aspen didn't want to. His skills made him useful, too valuable to make an enemy of all the while the team was fracturing. Someone needs to talk to him. Someone had to set him straight before it was too late. Any volunteers? Silence stretched out into the room, a heavy colonial blanket strangling all sense. Blake leaned back on her cot and buried her face in the book, golden eyes just a little too wide. Nodded. Pierre tucked her knees into her chest and studied her shoes with a single-minded intent, refusing to utter a word. Freya sighed. Kids these days, younger body or no, her mind was still very much that of an old lady. She'd seen her fair share of matters. This went well beyond the pale. Someone had to do something. Pierre had tried to approach him in her own faltering way, and found herself summarily rebuffed. Blake was terrified of his new powers. And Maria, a fucking fool of a boy. The door slammed as she came out to stalk him back into the room. Rejuvenation had done little to dull the Reaper's tongue. I give up. He's not my problem anymore. I tried, but the bastard's beyond help. He can fling himself off that roof for all I care. So be it. It fell to her to take charge. She was, after all, still the Winter Maiden. Hopefully, she would survive the experience, unless she could find someone he wouldn't lash out at. Why didn't they understand? Naruto bit down on his lower lip, stiffling a snarl as he glared up at the broken moon hanging in the night sky. He glared back, mocking him for his weaknesses, his failure, his powerlessness. Because at the end of the day, he was alone. Maria couldn't understand. Blake was afraid of him. He'd accidentally pissed Pierre off, and now who was left? Would Freya try and console him? Velvet Coco. He couldn't think of anyone else willing to pluck his thoughts out of the abyss. Who could you save? How could you save someone who didn't want to be saved? Why couldn't they help? Why couldn't they help him? Why wouldn't anyone help him? It would be so much easier if they helped him, not like Aspen and I would. They let him run amok. That wasn't helping, and that was tacit denial, or perhaps a fear of him. If he went too far, too hard, too fast, they probably disavow any knowledge of him. That hurt, but it was a dull pain, like the one he felt when he thought about Cinder. Poor broken cinder. Once the bane of his thoughts, now little more than a broken puppet to command, I see, please. Am I losing myself? He curled his right hand into a fist. No, I'm still me. I have to be. I just have to make them understand. He hit the door to the rooftop creak open at his flank. Sure enough, she found him at the rooftop. Well, you look like shit. Not in the mood, Coco. He didn't look back. I don't have time for this. Yeah, too bad. You're gonna make time. She was always like this. Truth be told, he'd enjoyed her pushiness by now. Have you come to lecture me too? He turned his head and spat down over the edge. Come to tell me how wrong I am? She didn't answer, and only sparked his fury to new heights. Go ahead, laugh. He glared his hands. I have all this power, part of the Winter Maiden, part of Fall too. And what good is it? His fist swung out, rending the air to no avail. What does it matter if I can't see the one eye? The words lodged in his throat, choking him. You love her, don't you? Naruto went rigid and in her Coco kiss. For a wild moment, she probably wondered if he would attack her. No, he couldn't bring himself to do that. Not to her. Instead, he slumped to his knees. You have to understand. The words escaped him in a dull rasp. Emerald and I aren't normal. He ran a hand through his hair, trying to make some sense of it. We were kids when we found each other. When I found her, she was starving, had a broken leg too. We grew up together, faced the world together, reformed together. Now, he turned to look at her, and she saw the boy beneath the man. What's the point? So too did she see the veins in his face. Geez, Whiskers, she gasped, a hand shielding her mouth. What did you do? How many semblances did you take? Enough. He looked away. I'll do anything to be able to tell her that I love her. She'd want to see you live. She'd want you to live. He ran on her eyes wild, teeth bared. Without her, no, never. Everyone kept saying that. What Emerald would want, what Emerald would do. What did they know? Nothing, less than nothing. Look, Whiskers, I've been around a time or two. She sat beside him. The path you're walking on, I've seen where it goes. Trust me. You don't want to do this. He favored her with a sad, tired smile. Neither do I. But if it's for her sake, if it means bringing her back. Coco's elbow he hit his ribs. Jonah wince. You're committed to this course of action then? Not to set his jaw. The only way out was through. He knew that now. I am. Come back alive. She squeezed his shoulder. Emerald would never forgive you if you died to save her. She wouldn't. They both knew that. I hate this. He barely said. I know what I have to do, but I don't think I have the strength to do it. Will you help me? She flicked his nose. I'm giving you my semblance, not that. He scowled before he caught her teeth and smiled. I just tell them why I left. Tell them I'll be back in a few days. Will do. You know, in another life I might have fallen for you. Warm lips brushed his cheek. Good luck, Whiskers. He stiffened. Coco liked to tease. No, she loved to tease, but just now, had she really? The moment passed, and the door swept shut behind him. Friends, huh? His scroll sprang to life. Not ignored it for all of 3 seconds. Then he ripped it free from his pocket and slammed it against his ear. Osmond, he growled into it. I swear this better not be another wild goose chase. Frustrating, isn't it? A low voice rumbled in his ear. Not Osmond, not Oz at all. He'll never let you save her. You know that. You're too useful. His blood ran cold. The hell is this? How did you get this number? Someone who wishes to help, the baritone voice intoned. As to the how it doesn't matter. We've been watching you for some time. You're a slave to Osmond, boy. You just don't realize it. Your friend, she'll never wake up. He won't allow it. A faint sigh followed the words folding in on themselves. Why would he? Once she returns to normal, he'd lose you, his greatest weapon. Best to keep you primed and aimed at the enemy in your current state. And what better way to do so than dangling her over your head? Osmond would never. Would he? You don't know that. His blue eyes flipped up and down glaring at the moon. You don't know anything about me. On the contrary, I know everything. I once stood in your shoes and lost my sister to his machinations. He squeezed the scroll until he heard a crack in his grasp. The stranger only grunted. If you truly wish to save her, meet us in the city at this address. Us. His brow furrowed fiercely at that. Who the hell is us? Someone who knows that old parasite far better than I. Previous, can't I just have this one thing? Why couldn't you just give it to me? Why didn't you help me? Why won't anyone fucking help me? I remember. This isn't my first time, but this is my first life. It's my second. What was he rambling about? Maybe it's all the symbolisms I devoured, all the life force I've eaten. He pumped his face and decided her drawn back, wincing now at the heat boiling of his body. I'm a monster. The old me never would have done this, but by the time I remembered it was too late. I can't live without her. His body blazed gold on red. Welcome to my dark side. It's the last thing you'll ever see. End of chapter 17.